Happy Hump Day, YouTube. Uh, Looking outside, it's not very happy. Today's the first day in a long time where I'm electively not riding my bike to work because it's cold, it's rainy, it's shitty, and there's nothing fun about a bike ride on a morning like this. You're dirty, you're filthy, you're wet, you're sopping, and then your clothes don't dry as they hang there throughout the day at work, and then you throw them on after. Ugh, it's so gross. But anyways, that's beside it. It's just I'm getting the point is that today's a shitty day. But the Leafs made it a little better kind of morning because they got a good win last night. They were hosting the Minnesota Wild, who only won their first game the day before against Ottawa, which isn't saying much. They're off to a bad start, and they're kind of in a bit of a downturn from everything I've heard. They've always been such a consistently good team. Always a playoff team for the last however many years. They didn't make it last year, but before that they were always they just iced a competitive team all the time. They were always in the mix. And so it's kind of weird to see them kind of be not great. But this game got off to a typical start for the Leafs, I guess, so far this year. They got scored on first. I think that's happened in all but one of their games so far this year. And that was the only goal of the period. I think Kunin for the Wild beat Fred on a shot that maybe shouldn't have gone in, one of those ones. And that's the thing I've noticed with Fred this year is that, and he is a typically slow starter. October is never his greatest month. He always takes a while to kind of ramp up and get going. So that goal wasn't great, and that's what I've noticed is that he makes these remarkable saves during the games fairly routinely, but then the goals that he gives up in some of the cases is they're kind of soft, right? So I guess it all equals out and stuff, and as long as they're winning, it doesn't really matter, but that is something that I have noticed. The Leafs had an average first period. It was competitive. It was a close game to start, and obviously with Minnesota taking the early lead, it was a game. Second period, though, the Leafs came out guns blazing, and it was, I mentioned in the last game that it was their bottom six forwards, their bottom two lines that were really carrying the load and putting on the show. And on this night, it was finally their big guns got going, and they scored 4 straight goals in the second period. Tavares got on the board first with a big slap shot from like almost an impossible angle with Marner providing a screen in front. And then Marner dribbled one in through Dubnyk's pads, and then Johnsson got a goal, and then Matthews got the 4th one of the period on a nice little slap pass from Marner. So you could tell that the big guys were feeling it and were getting going, and with how good the bottom 6 have been playing, hopefully with these guys getting something going, this is going to be a sign of more consistent overall attack from their forward group. And Riley had 4 assists, so he got back on the board. So it was kind of a good game all around for the Leafs to kind of get going. And the bottom 6 forwards were good again. Like those 2 lines were great. And there was a bit of a switch. They took Kapanen off of the Marner-Tavares line and put Trevor Moore up there. And he looked fantastic. He's so fast. And just he's like a dog on a bone. He's kind of like Hyman. Like he's one of those tenacious kind of forecheckers who kind of makes the line go. I think he's a better fit on that line over Kapanen because he's more of that kind of player. He's more of a Hyman kind of player. So yeah, it was a good overall performance. And the third period was they kind of went into that shell. You know, they only had 6 shots in the period. It's kind of that we've got a 4-1 lead. Let's just coast home instead of pressing the attack, which I kind of was hoping they would do. I think that's what every team should do when they're up that late, because you fall into that defensive shell in the third period. And so many times you see teams getting lazy and, all of a sudden it's 4-2. Oh, and then they pulled the goalie, it's 4-3, you know, and it's like it's closer than it should have been. And that didn't really happen. Minnesota did pull their goalie in the last couple minutes, and they did get another goal. But that's how it would end, 4-2, and it was a pretty convincing win for the Leafs, and nice for them to get back on in the win column. Well, actually, they won in Detroit on Saturday, sorry, but nice to maybe get a little bit of a streak going. Although they did fly to Washington last night, and they're playing in Washington tonight, so it's a back-to-back situation with travel, and I'm assuming that Hutch is going to play in goal tonight. So this could be a tough game tonight. But we'll worry about last night for now. It's 2 points. It's another win, and we'll see what happens tonight. Have a great rainy Wednesday.